Um, since Jessica is already started the recording, how about let's just get started? Even though we have 4 people sign up, we only have 2, but it seems like they're not going to join us. So today we are going to talk about all of the building blocks in Canvas. There are 3 kinds of building blocks in Canvas. First one is called files. Second one is called pages. And the third one is called modules. I'm going to talk about all of the files and pages, how to use them, what they are for. And Jessica is going to talk about all of modules. Well, yeah. So first one is files. There are 3 places where we can access to files. But before that, let me explain what files is. Files is a tool, but it's also a place where you can find all of your uploading materials, like your syllabus, your PowerPoint slides, even your profile pictures. All those external created documents go to the place which is called files. Well, as I said before, 3 places where you can access to files. The first one is located within the global navigation menu. If you remember, this bar, the black menu bar, is called a global navigation menu. So all of the tools here are collecting data from all of the course you enrolled into, all right? If you go ahead, click on account, one of the link in the account is called files. This is where the global files is. It's going to take a while to load because I have so many courses under my account. All right, so as you can see, this is what looks like the global files area. The left panel shows you the course list. So every course has a folder, and at the very top, as you can see, I have my personal files folder. So this is a place where you can upload any non-course related stuff. It doesn't belong to any specific course. If you have uploaded a picture to your account, you probably will be able to find that picture within this folder. Yeah, well, I probably have moved somewhere, but it was here. All right. So the global files area will be a great place to go when you want to copy documents.
Can I say one thing? Can I just say, I don't know how you would click on that picture and then get it in the file. Do you drag it? Do you? Yeah. So you're supposed to left click or right click. How do you get it from there to file?
Oh, okay. So sorry, I was too fast. What I did is I left click on the account, right? Do you see this new window?
Yeah.
Pumping up, and one of the link here is called files.
Yeah.
Click on that one for me, please.
You mean me too?
Yeah, if you want to get to the files area.
All right, I clicked on it.
Then, do you see this area, the files area? This is your name. Then after your name is the place where you are at. It's called files.
Yeah.
And it depends on how many courses you have here. This is your course list. It shows you all of the course you have enrolled into.
Yeah, yeah.
And each course has its own folder.
Okay.
All right.
This is like in Blackboard, this is like my courses.
Yeah.
That helps me to use the Blackboard term and then tell what it is here. So if I opened up Blackboard, there'd be my courses, and each course has got something you click on, and then you get in the course. In this one, you hit. In this one, you hit files. Is that?
Yeah.
And then when you hit files, up will come your courses.
Yeah. Not your courses. Your folders in that courses. In that course. I'm sorry. In that specific course. So if I click in one of the course here, let's say the NRP 604, right? It shows me all of the subfolders within that course and all of the files or folders within that parent folder, which is this course folder.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Remember that this place only store the stuff that is created outside of the canvas. So like the quizzes, assignments, those kind of things which are created right within Canvas using the Canvas tool, they don't live here.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, we can only see those PowerPoints, pictures, those kind of things, documents.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so that's what it looks like. And this is where the global files area is. All three places where we can access to files, they all have the same structure. And I'll go to the details in the course files area because that is like a more frequent to use files area. All right.
Yeah.
And before I move on, one more thing that I would like to mention is each course will have 500 megabytes, which is almost double what we have in Blackboard. In Blackboard, we have 250. I feel like this is a good thing.
Okay.
All right, so let me open up one of my Blackboard course so I can use the terminology over there to remind you what it is. They are not exactly the same, but you know, they have some similar tools. Yeah, if you go to content and click on the course name, it basically they are the same area of that course. In Blackboard, it's called course content, as you said. Yeah, but in Canvas, we call it files.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one on, or is somebody else on too? I don't want to take anybody else's thing.
Yeah, we have another Jessica is here.
Okay.
If you have any specific questions, we can talk about. Talk about after the session.
Yeah, I was just going to show you on like my Psych 200 or Psych 302.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to that on Blackboard,
mm-hmm.
you'd see how it's set up, and
mm-hmm.
you'd see what I use is the announcements, and I use the assignments, and I use the discussion board,
mm-hmm.
and I use the grading.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those kinds of things that I need to know how to use on, once the course is set up in Canvas.
Yeah, sure. I can go over all of the tools that you're not familiar with one more time before the course got started or before you start building up your course.
Okay.
All right. Cool. That's the global files area. The second place where we can access to files is in your course. So I'm going to hop over to a specific course. This time, let me show you which one I want to use. Canvas 101 demo. Or how about let's go to my sandbox because I have less content here. Okay, so now I'm in my own sandbox, where I don't have any students enrolled into this course, so I can play, all of the functions in this course without affecting any students. And if you want to have your own sandbox, you can send an email to Jeff. Jeff can create one for you very quick. All right, so here, now this menu, the mouse I'm going through is called a course navigation menu. There is another files tool on the course navigation menu. Well, as I said before, they all have the same structure. As you can see, the left panel, the right panel, the left one shows you, all of the subfolders within this course, and on the right panel, it shows me what you have within that folder. So basically, there are three main things we might want to do with this course files area. First thing, you might have to upload something to your course, right? So how do we do that? Well, apparently, there is a bright yellow button right here called upload button. And you can click on this one to browse your computer.
Did you do that? Oh, the picture was over it. I couldn't see that. Yeah, I see it now. But
okay, so here, do you see a yellow button called upload?
Yeah.
Yeah, click on that one to upload any documents you want to be in your course.
Okay.
And also one more thing that I would like to remind you is before you click on this yellow button, you might want to decide which folder you want to use as the destination. So let's say if you want to, I'm going to upload let me see what I have here. Well, let's say if I want to use this folder as the destination, what I need to do is I left click on this folder, then we click upload. That's this one. Then as you can see, this specific document will go to the destination folder that I just clicked. All right. Okay. Another thing that you can do to upload files is, let me see, how about this one? Oh, sorry. Let me move over a document here. So if you don't want to click on this button, another thing that we can do is just drag and drop. You drag it over here, it automatically uploads to the place where you dragged it over to. We can either click on this one or just do dragging and dropping. All right. So this is for uploading files. And I know some of the instructors, they like developing all of their learning materials by using the folders on their computer. So technically, we can upload the whole folder, the nested folder, into our Canvas system. However, the only way to make it happen is we need to zip that folder into a zipped folder. Then we upload that zipped folder because Canvas only accepts the zipped folder. Let me see if I have an example here. Let me unzip it. Okay, here. I have a folder right here, if you can see. And within this folder, I have 3 documents. So if you want to upload this folder into Canvas files area, if you drag it directly, Canvas will tell you, hey, we're unable to transmit file to this storage service. So what I need to do is I right-click on that folder, choose Send To. Once you hover over to Send To, you will be able to see this option, which is called a compressed or zipped folder. Click on this one. Then your computer will generate this zipped folder for you. Then we can drag this zipped folder to here. Canvas will ask me, hey, do you want to expand the folder or do you want to upload the zip file as is? If you're going to use the content within that folder, I'm going to click on this one. Or if you are just using it, to let your students download the whole folder, I probably will just hit this one, upload as is. So it depends on what you want to do with this folder. But this time, I'm just going to use expand. Okay. Yeah. Another thing that I want to say is if you are uploading the nested folders, the structure of the folder won't get messed up. So you don't have to worry about the structure. All right. So that's uploading files or folders into the files area. The second thing we might want to do is we need to create folders to make these areas more organized, right? Especially when you are developing a course, if you have an organized files area, it's more easy for you to target the document that you want to use in the course, right? So how do we do that? Apparently, there is another button next to the upload button, which is called add folder. We click on this one to create a new folder. But before that, again, you might need to choose the parent folder. So let's say if I want to have a module 2 subfolder within my sandbox folder, what I need to do is I click on my parent folder, which is a J sandbox. Then I click add folder. Then give the name like module 2, then check. Well, as you can see, I can see my subfolder that I just created. If you refresh the page one more time, Canvas would just rearrange the folders based on the number. So as you can see, module 1 and module 2, they are next to each other. All right. So that's how do we create folders. You can create multiple layers of folders within that folder. Yeah, you just need to click on the parent folder first. One thing that is not very intuitive that I want to show you is there was one time I really wanted to get rid of one of my subfolders within my parent folder. So what I did is I went to here, let's say if I wanted to get rid of this folder, I right-clicked on this folder. I thought there is going to be an option called delete, but as you can see, I don't see that option here. So I looked up online. It turns out we had to go to the parent folder to find that the folder that you want to delete. Once you hovered over, mouse over, then you are able to see this 3 dots icon. Click on this icon. As you can see, one of the options here is called delete. Then we delete it from there. Yeah, so it's not that intuitive, and this is something that you might want to keep in mind. All right, so well, that's adding folders to the files area. The third thing we can do with the files area is for some of the instructors, they want to make the files tool available to students. They might need some restricted access to specific folders or documents. So how do we do that? Here, we have some simple, well, some basic option for restricted students access to files or folders, which is this icon, publish or unpublish. Publish right now, the green circle with the check mark, that means publish. So students have access to this file. For those kind of icon, like this one, that means students cannot see it, even though the files tool is available to students. If you want to have some advanced restricted access to files here, what we can do is we can highlight this picture. Well, if it works with folders and other types of documents as well. Once you highlighted it, you will see those 5 buttons appear at the top of the screen, which allows us to view is like preview of what that document is. And again, we have the manage access option. Publish, unpublish, it's the same thing with this icon here. And the third one, restricted access. So what this does is, well, we have 2 options here. Schedule student availability. That means within this time window, students will have the access. Yeah, it just gives you option to set up a time window. And only available to students with link, not visible in student files. So that means if you put a link to that specific picture, in my case, in other course areas, students can have the access to that picture, view that link. But if they go to files, they don't see that picture in the files area. Yeah, that's what it does. Right? Then we have some other options like download, move, delete, those kind of things. For move, again, we can do drag and drop. But if the list is super long, we can use this button to move it to a specific folder. Yeah. All right. So that's about course files. Let me see what else I want to show you. Oh, another thing is all of those column name allows us to filter the documents by the date, creation date or date modified by its author or the size. They are all filtering options. Yeah. And here, if you want to search for a specific document, you can type out the name of it here. All right. Any questions before I move on to the next place where we can access to files?
I'll just say that, just to give you some feedback.
All right.
That overview was good, but it's not going to stick whole lot with me. And it's educational to see this, but I mean, professors creating the courses is like they have to take a major in course instruction, a course design, or course creation. Once they're created, then we can be taught how to manage it. But all this, you know so much and we know so little, and there's so many steps and so many little things that it's just impossible to do more than to make us familiar with what you're doing. And so that's feedback for you and everybody.
Yeah, it will be great if you already had something in your course so that you can play around.
Well, you're doing good because you're giving us the overview. I'm just giving you that feedback. And again, my courses on Blackboard are already created beautifully, and someone needs to create them on Canvas beautifully. Just transfer it, put it in the new, French instead of Spanish, and then teach us how to manage the student through the course. Not all this course creation stuff, because it's just not going to be remembered at all. Okay. That's my feedback for you and Nick and Jeff and everybody else.
Well, I guess here's the thing. Probably you are the master of your course. So if you are the person who developed your course, it will be more under your control. So that's why we want to show you what you can do with your course so that you have more control.
Let me tell you what happened. I know what would go in a course. And the courses were created by me saying what would go in the course, but who would push the buttons and put it in the course, the Blackboard, were the Blackboard experts such as yourself. I would call them course developers. But for a teacher, whether a geography teacher or a lawyer or teacher or anything else, for them to know how to create a course so beautifully as you guys know, it's and expect them to remember all this, just be exposed to it. Yes, that's good, but to build their own courses is not a good design. Somebody's got to help them build the courses and teach them how to run the course. And I guess that's what's going to happen in my case, because the courses are already built. They in Blackboard, they need to be built or stuck in the right folders and files and modules, and then I need to be shown, okay, here's how you grade, and here's how you communicate, and here's how you, if you did need to add something, here's call us, we'll add it. So that's my feedback on, and you're doing good. You, the teacher, just keep right on doing what you're doing. Just don't expect us to remember everything.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we might have various audience. For some of the instructors, they build everything by themselves. So that's why we want to offer this kind of trainings so that they can learn from it. When they're alone, when they want to build the stuff by themselves, they can. They have the ways. Yeah.
My bet is if there's 100 teachers, one would have that ability, and I bet you none who are older teachers. They'd be younger people, honestly. And I've been here for 48 years, 1970, and so that we just can't do it without your all's help. And you guys have been helpful totally.
Sure.
And this education that you're giving us now is helpful. My feedback was just to let you know that what you just went through is some people are going to get it, but most won't. Okay, go forward.
All right, cool. All right. So if we're good with the course files, then I'm going to go to the group files. This is the group files is the third place where you can access to files. If you remember from the session 2, communication tools, if you want to create groups, the tool that you need to use is called people. So if you go to people, then let me see if I have any groups here. Yeah, I do. I have one group here. And in this group, they will have their own files area. So that means they can upload any materials into the files area without your permission. And yeah, and all of the things in the group files area is going to be available to you and all of the group members, not other people from other groups. And this is the third place where you can access to files. All right. So as I said, they all have the same structure, uploading, adding folders, those kind of things. Cool. So this is the third place where you can access to files. That will be all for files. Is there any questions before I move on?
That was good.
Okay. All right. So that's the first building block if you want to build up your course. The second building block that you can use is called pages. So what pages is a kind of like a web page where you can insert text, images, videos, external URL or internal links. Internal links, I mean the links to the assignments that you have created or any discussions, any quizzes, they can all be linked on that page. And we can use pages to create that. In Blackboard, if you remember, all of those things, each individual, this block are created by, what's that tool called? It's called a content atom, right? But here, they basically, pages and the content atom, they are the similar tool. Yeah, you just don't see this line between each content, between each specific content. So let me show you what pages look like. Let me give you an example. If I go to home, this is something created by page tool. As you can see, I have the links to different modules area, and I have inserted a picture and some text and some more links. Yeah, those things are all created by pages. So I would see the pages is probably, well, one of the biggest building block in Canvas. How do we access to it? It's located on the course navigation menu again. Where is it? Pages. Oh, right here. So this is where you can view all of the pages you have created before. As you can see, all of the pages are created. I'm sorry, I got a question. Are there pre-existing templates for those sorts of pages? Well, we have some templates for the whole course, for specific templates for those pages. So we use pages to create different things. If you're talking about like the weekly overview pages, this is probably have to be done by yourself. But we do have like a course template. Within the template, they have some basic structure of the modules, and within the module, it probably contains some like page templates. I mean, the picture that you have on the main page, is that a template? Yeah, this is a AP template, actually. If you are developing AP courses with AP people, you will get this template loaded in your course. Yeah, that's what we have. All right, so let me go back to pages. Okay, I'm applying for RPT. Is there a home page template? So for RPT, it will have a different structure. I don't know if you are going to have a home page template, but if you really want a home page, we can help you to develop one. But from what I remember, the last time I went to the RPT template, we have the structure of the RPT, but I don't think we have a home page for that RPT template. Oh, yeah, we have RPT template for sure, but the home page we can customize one for you if you really want one. Cool. Let me go back to the pages index page. Where I was? So here, what I was saying is all of the pages are ordered alphabetically. So there is no way we can give them a specific order. Then later, when Jessica shows you how to use modules, you will know that modules is like the organizational tool where you can give students a specific order of all of the pages and assignments that you want them to go through based on, using modules.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah, sure.
So file and module and pages. So pages would go in a module would go in a file, and the file was in the file. There's in the file there's courses, and a course would have modules, but inside the modules are pages.
So inside the modules, we can insert pages, files, assignments, discussion boards, all those kind of things. Modules is more like a container. We can put all of the segments we have in the course into it.
Okay.
Pages is just one of the segments, and the files, it only stores the external created documents.
Like a syllabus or something.
Yeah, like Word document, PPT, those kind of things. So that means pages won't go under files.
Okay.
Pages only go to pages.
And what's in pages is things like links to TED Talks and tutorials, like a teacher's lectures that
exactly.
are videotaped.
Mm-hmm.
And quizzes and things like that. That's what's in pages.
Quizzes is under quizzes, but we can put the links to that quiz in a page.
Yeah, okay. See, if I showed you my Blackboard under the assignment section, it will have it nice and neat, everything that they're supposed to do. And it's clean. And then the next assignment is everything they're supposed to do. And there's links to this and assignments. It's clean. And that sounds to me like assignments in Canvas will have these modules that will be kind of clean, like I'm saying that the Blackboard is. Oh,
so here we can put assignments on a page or within the module, but all of the assignments will go to this tool, its own tool called assignments. Within assignments, you can find all of the assignments that you have created, which including like a discussion board or quizzes or like a submission assignments. But if you go to modules, which Jessica is going to show you in a bit, we can add any assignments into that module. So as I said, it's an organization tool. So student will know within module 0, they need to view this page, then finish those 2 discussions.
Yeah, I got you.
And again, this is just a container. When you delete the discussion from the modules page, it still exists under assignments or discussions. We are just removing the link of it. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
In Blackboard, it was kind of discussions were someplace else. Assignments, there'd be a syllabus, okay, and then you could see that, and then there'd be these. You hit assignments, and it would tell you what you're supposed to do each week, basically, and it would be there for them to see. If there was a discussion wanted, there'd be another thing you would click that would be discussion, and people could talk. If there was an announcement, I could click on announcement, and I could give the announcement and move the students through the course. So it's that kind of ease that is needed for Canvas, and I bet it's going to be that way, but I'll just have to wait until the course is built to know.
Yeah, it will work in the same way. If you click on the specific discussion, you will see this is the body of the discussion where you can add all of the descriptions or instructions for that discussion board. And the same with announcement or assignment.
Okay.
Yeah. They all have their own places where you can add more instructions or descriptions if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. But for this time, I'm going to show you how to create those pages, like start here, those kind of things. We all need to use pages to create that. This is made of page as well. Some videos, course instructions, those kind of things. All right?
Yeah.
Cool. Let me create a new page so that I can show you the steps. Oh, one more thing is the front page. As you can see, this one is different from others because there is an indicator that, hey, the course home is the front page. So what front page does is once you set up a page as a front page, the front page will be the landing page of the pages area. Once you click on the pages, this page will be the first page users would see. And also, when you want to have a home page, the landing page for your whole course, we need to set up the page as a front page, then set up the front page as the home page. Let me show you what I mean. So if you go to home, on the right-hand menu, one of the options is called choose home page. And the second option is pages front page. So we might have to have a front page first. Then we set that front page as my home page. So right now, this is both my front page, this page is both my front page as well as my home page. That's what this front page does. But before you want to set up a page as a front page, you might want to make sure this page is published. For the unpublished pages, as you can see, the use as a front page option is just grayed out. All right, cool. Again, the column name will allow us to filter the pages by the creation date and last added date. Yeah, that's what it does. All right, I'll go ahead and create a new page by clicking that yellow button that says add page. So let's say if I want to create a weekly overview page, oh, capital P.
What button did you push to add a page?
So here is what I did.
Where's the button you push to make a page?
Here at the very up right corner, do you see this yellow button?
Yeah. Okay.
Click on that one for me, please.
Okay.
That's what you will see. So in this mode, we call it pages creation mode, where you can see this editor is called a rich content editor. It will be similar to what we have in Blackboard. In Blackboard, we call it a content editor. So basically, it is a place where you can format your text, and also it's also the place where you can add the videos, the links, and like the pictures. All right, yeah. Let me just give it a structure of this page. How about, since this is a weekly over page, I'll just use some learning outcomes, then probably capital learning activities, then probably I'll have learning materials, where I might put some like PowerPoints, some resources from outside, from other websites, learning materials. Then I'll give them like learning assessments. So I want to use this structure as my page structure. Since they are the structure of this page, I might want the font to be bigger, right? So it's more stand out. Instead of using this one, which is called a font size, to change the size of the font, I would use this one, which is called a paragraph formatting. This is for accessibility purpose. If you have any students who are using screen reader, the screen reader will tell them, hey, this is a paragraph. hey, this is a header. But if you're just changing the size of the font, screen reader cannot recognize it. All right, so we have some very basic formatting functions here, like a bold, italic, underline, the text color, those kind of things. One cool button I would like to show you is this one. It's called a clear formatting. The T, there is an underline. That button is called clear formatting. Once we click on it, when you feel like, oh, I messed up with the formatting of a specific sentence, I can just highlight that sentence, then go ahead, click on the clear formatting button. It will cleanse out the formatting of that, of the things that you have highlighted. All right. Then some other options like align left, center, right, then, you know, bullet list, numbered list, those kind of things. For this one is going to be useful when you want to embed videos into your pages. We need to use this tool, which is called insert/edit media. When you don't know any button, you know, any buttons function, all you need to do is hover over, then it will tell you the name. Basically, you can have a clue about what this button does. So insert or edit media is pretty, well, for me, it's pretty obvious. Is for us to embed media files. So that means, well, let's say if I want to embed a video, YouTube video to that page. Okay, I'll use a KD one. Okay, so this one is a cute one. All right, so let's say if this is going to be one of the learning materials that I want students to go through within that week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the URL of this YouTube by highlighting this box, well, the things in this box. Then I Control-C, which is copy. Then I come back to this page to decide which part that I want to embed this video in. It's one of the learning materials, or, well, let's say, how about learning activities? So I'll give them like context. Build this video and think about blah, blah, blah. Then I insert this video by using this tool here. Click on this one. As you can see, I have 3 tabs here. General, Embed, Advanced. General means the URL, the website address, the YouTube address actually. Embed is for embedding code. Advanced, actually I have never used this one, but typically we won't use this one. We either use the URL or use the embed code. I just copy over the YouTube video link and put it down here. And the dimensions is for you to change the size of the player that we're going to embed in the pages. And once you click OK, then as you can see, let me save it very quick. This video is going to be inserted in this page. So students don't have to copy the URL of that video, then open up a new tab, then paste that URL to view that video. All they need to do is just click on the play button right within that page. So we're trying our best to make students' life easy and also for ours, because once students run into any issues, they might have to bother you with you know, emails.
When you showed the example, you put highlighted the YouTube, and then you put the cursor or the arrow on it, and you said Control C
is copy.
Control C, and then you went into the page.
Yeah.
And could you have just gone ahead and stuck in Control V, CV, and it would pop in? Because you took us through some other steps instead of putting it CV.
Yeah, before I pressed the CV, well, Control V, I clicked on this button, insert or edit slash added media, this button. Click on this one, you will see this dialog window. Then we copy the URL here by pressing Control V, which is paste.
Oh, that's where you put the Control V.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah, Control C, Control V, those are, keyboard shortcut cuts.
So you start by hitting this little thing and then go to what the YouTube and then go back and hit that little thing, or do you just start from, just have something you want to stick in there like YouTube, and then you go in and you hit that little thing, and then you get the YouTube or the TED Talk or whatever it is with VC, and then you come back here and then you hit the little thing and then you put it in the source?
Oh, it doesn't matter. So right here, as long as you know the URL of the video that you want insert in, right?
Yeah.
You grab the URL here.
Yeah.
Then you come back to these pages. Then click on this button.
Okay.
It's the typical process. But if before you, if you have this window on, then you go to another tab to grab the URL. That's fine too. Is that what you're talking about?
I think I was just saying, how do you move something from YouTube to there? And I think you showed me, you said you go to the YouTube, you highlight it, and then you you Control C,
yeah.
and then you come back to this page and you hit that little, whatever you call that button, and up comes this little insert field, and then you go to where it says source, and then you hit C, Control V, and it'll come in. Is that, and is that right? That'll be the work? Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
You are on the right path. And also, except this one, actually you can see I have another option that's called YouTube. But for this one is like for YouTube only. You can search the topic right here, then embed the same thing. Do the same thing if the video is on YouTube. Let me see if I can find the same audio or same video. See, it's doing the same thing. However, one thing that I might want to remind you is this one is specifically for resources, video resources from YouTube, but this one is for everywhere. As long as you can grab the URL of that video, this tool works.
Where do you get TED Talk ones?
TED Talk, you mean we can search the TED Talk in YouTube, right? Or TED Talk will have their own website, right? It depends on where you grab the URL. So let's say if we go to their official website, the TED Talk official websites, it's not located in the YouTube, right?
Right.
So, okay, for this one, if we want to share this video with students, we find this video first. Then once you, you will see one of the buttons here called share.
Yeah.
Click on this one. Then we have two links. One is called embed. The other one is the direct link. Again, highlight it. Then Control C, then go back here to copy it over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Okay.
Right? Nice. This is how do we embed videos into pages. Another thing that you might need to do is you might want to grab some useful resources from other websites and insert them into the pages, right? So let's say
you don't insert these videos and these other contents like articles or links into modules. You put them in the pages, and then the page goes into the module.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to do. And later on, Jessica is going to show you why we need to do that instead of putting everything in modules.
Okay.
All right. So for this one, link to URL. This is for adding URL into the pages, because well, technically we can insert a URL here, right? However, as you can see, it's super long, and the students have no clue about which this URL is going to take them to. Instead, what we can do is we can do something like this. So let's say if I want a student to use Google, use this search engine. How do you spell engine? Oh, use this search engine to look for the topics. Fine. Wait. Interested. It's not right. Here. All right. So what we can do is we can highlight search engine, then give it like a Google address. Fine, this one, Control C again, copy. Then I come back here, then insert this URL. Then this text right now will become something clickable. So as long as you see something in red in Canvas, that means this is like a link. So the search engine will take them to Google. Does it make sense? So that's how do we use it?
Yes.
All right. Cool. We're done with this one. For this one, embed image. If you want to embed any images into your page, you can do that by either click on this one, embed image tool, or we have another place. It is right here. It's right here. Excuse me. This menu here is called content selector. And as you can see, I have 3 tabs here: links, files, and images. The links, under links, I have so many categories: pages, assignments, quizzes. As you can see, those are all the contents that I can create within Canvas. What it does is, if you click on the name of the things, let's say if I want students to finish one of the assignments in this week, right? What I need to do is I go to here, the content selector, then under assignments, I would be able to find the assignments that I created within assignments. Then once you click on the name of the assignments, then the link will be inserted into this page. So one assignment that I want them to finish, and probably one quiz, and I have a discussion that I want them to post for that week. Then all of those 3 will become link. Once you save it, students click on that link will take them directly to that assignment without having them to hunt around in the course to find that specific assignment. Again, we're trying to offer students like a one-shop experience. They can find everything on this page without hunting.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I like this tool actually. This is a part which Blackboard doesn't have. And also the same thing for files. Again, that's what we want to have organized files. If you don't have any subfolders, I'm sorry, in your files area, you are going to see a long list which you have to scroll forever to find that, to target that specific document. So let's say if I want a student to, if I have any Word document, do I? Okay, cool. Learning material. finish this. Read the syllabus. Move on to the next module, probably something like that. Then I can highlight the syllabus. Then click on the name of the syllabus under Files. Then this syllabus will become a link. Instead of click on this link to that file, as you can see, I have a magnifying lens icon right here. If you click on this one, Canvas would auto-generate the preview of that file. So students don't have to download it in order to see it. This is a cool feature. I like it. All right. So that's how do we insert files. Oh, I was here. I wanted to insert images, right? Two places. One is embed image right here. Another place is right here. It's called images. In this area, it shows you all of the images that you have uploaded to the files area. As you can see, it only shows you the images. So we can either click on the wait, it's like this small. We can either click on this picture to insert that picture, or we can choose this one, choose using this one, this tool, embed image. It will do the same thing. But this one, we will have more options. See, we have three resources that we can grab images from. URL, if the picture is on website, we can insert the URL right here. Canvas, it shows you your Canvas files, your course files area, and also my files area. This is located on the global files area, if you can recall. And the Flickr, this is a company that offers a bunch of free to use images. Again, Kitty. Then this one is cute. Highlight the picture that you want to insert. Then alt text. So again, this is for accessibility purpose. Screen reader will tell the user what this picture is about. If you ever found this field is blank, you might want to put something here to tell the screen user what this picture is about. Then decorative image. Once you click on this box, then the alt text field will be grayed out. Then screen reader will tell user, hey, this is just a decoration. Dimensions, I won't worry about the dimensions here because we can manually drag to change the size of the images. Yeah. That's how do we insert images, two places. If you remember, one is here, another one is here. All right, that's about images. Then we move on to the math equation. If you are a math equation, well, if you are a math teacher, you are able to find all of the complicated symbols right here. Then YouTube I've already showed you, and the Microsoft Office 365. This is for you to have a quick access to your Office 365 account without having to go to a new tab. Once you click on it, you will be able to log in to your Microsoft Office 365 account and able to find all of the documents over there and insert them very quickly by checking the name of the box next to the name of the documents. The next to it is called embedded Kaltura media. If you have recordings in Kaltura, we can insert the videos very quick by clicking this button. It shows you all of the videos you have under your account. Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, it shows me. That's all the videos I have under my account. Then once you click select, this one is going to be embedded. Oh, the format is not right, but you know, you got the point. That's how do we quickly embed the videos, the Kaltura videos into pages without going to move to other areas of Canvas. One more thing that I want to show you on pages, on the rich content editor actually, is called record or upload media. This is for you to upload existing MP4, any media files to pages, or if you want to use it to record a quick video or audio, you can use this tool without using Kaltura or Tegrity or any like external video tools. That's what this one does. However, one thing that I would like to remind you is the video that we use this tool to record will take up your course space. However, if you put the videos in the Kaltura or Tegrity or any other external video tools, all we need to do is inserting that link to that video into your course. So I feel like that will avoid the situation where your course is getting full, the storage is getting used a lot, if that makes sense. All right, so that's how do we use the rich content editor. Once you are done formatting the page, you will see this option, which is called Who Can Edit This Page row. There are 3 options underneath it. Only teachers, and students, and anyone. If we chose teachers and students or anyone, that means anyone can edit this page. So technically, it's acting as a wiki page. If you remember, in Blackboard, we have a wiki page where everyone can work on it at the same time. If we chose those 2 rows, that means that they are like technically a wiki page. However, one thing that I would like to remind you is Pages is not designed for collaboration. So if 2 students are editing this page, the first student who saves the page will erase the second student's edits. So yeah, for collaboration, we have a specific tool called collaborations. So typically, we would only choose this one, only teachers. And then we have another option is called notify users that this content has changed. If we check this box, then once you make any changes to that page, students will get a notification in their NKU email saying, hey, your instructor made changes to this page, you might want to check it out. Yeah, this is what it does. Once I save it, this is a page that I just created. Now I'm in the viewing mode of this page. Once I'm on this mode, if you click on the 3 dots, one option that I have is called a view page history. So Canvas is keeping track of all of the page changing history for us. And you have the option to restore the current page to any of its previous version. So if you accidentally saved something with something that you don't like, you can always restore it back. Yeah, I feel like this is pretty neat. All right, I think that's all I have for you for pages only. Any questions before I move on?
That was very helpful.
All right, cool. If we don't have any questions, how about let's call Jessica.
I'm here.
All right, cool.
Give me just a second to pull up what I need, and I will share my screen.
All right.
Hold on, sorry, just a second.
Take your time.
Hello, good afternoon. I think I've met both of you before. Just wanted to reintroduce myself. My name is Jessica Gake, and I'm an instructional designer with SITE, and I'm going to be talking about modules today. So if you've come to any of our other trainings, you probably have heard us talk about modules, you've seen modules. Today we're going to talk about actually how to create modules, how to build content into the modules, and some best practices for using modules. So hopefully you can see my screen. I have my sandbox pulled up and working on getting that the modules here. Let me refresh this and see if it gives us anything else. Okay, there we go. So when you first, right now currently, I have, if you're in a course, you have the modules area on the menu. I currently have my home page set so that modules are the view from the home page. Either way is fine. If you have that set, you can work on the home page with your modules, or you can just go right to the modules area. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. So in order to create a new module though, I'm going to use this plus module yellow button in the top right corner. And I'm going to just create a couple for us to work with. So I just click the plus yellow button, and then I give it a name, and my new module a name. And then I can choose from various settings that come up on this page too. We're going to come back to this and talk about these locking settings, but we're not going to do that yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and click add module to create the module. And as you can see now, I have several modules created. I can name modules whatever I want, but they are ultimately just an organizational tool. So on the modules page, you'll see one module leading right into another module. And essentially modules, the way that I like to think about it is like an outline or a table of contents for, I like to kind of use the analogy of like an ebook, and you'll see why in a little bit. Basically, you're creating an outline for your course and your course information. And so what you want to do is create each module so that it's organized in a way that makes sense for your content. So you may have a course where it makes sense to do weekly content. Maybe, you know, by chapter is better for you, or by unit. It doesn't really matter as long as you just have them organized in the weeks. What's nice is that, for example, in Canvas, if you have a discussion, all of your discussions are in the discussions area. If you create pages like Jade just showed you, all of the pages are in the pages area. And you can't really mix and match those. The modules is where you can mix and match all of your content and add them to one place so that you, so the students can get to everything they need in one place. So instead of having to kind of do a scavenger hunt to get the information they need every week, they can go right to the week one module and then find everything they need for that week. So that's one of those things where it's just a really great organizational tool. It helps avoid some confusion for students. It helps you have everything in one place for the week. And so that's why I usually use the example of a weekly module, but you don't have to use a weekly module. And we'll keep talking about this in a minute. So each module here has some settings. You see these little arrows over here on the left. And the arrows are collapsing arrows, and I'll show you that once there's actually stuff to collapse. But over here on the right, you see this publishing icon that's grayed out, which means that it's not published. So that means that students can't see it. And one of the things you need to remember about modules is that because it holds other items, if those items are published, but the module itself is not published, the students won't be able to see the individual items that are in the module. So you want to make sure that the module itself is published. And we'll do that once we actually have content in the module. I'll show you how to publish it. You just click the button. Then over here on the further to the right, we have a plus button. This is how we're going to add content to the module, which we'll do in just a minute. And then the 3 dots is just another more menu. So it just gives us some more options, which we will go over at the end once we have our modules set up. So let's go ahead and add some content to our modules. If I click the plus button, I can select from the list here. I've got assignment, quiz, file, content page, discussion, text header, external URL, and external tool. And these are all the things that you can add to a module. So everything that you can basically create in other places in the course, plus a few extra things, can be added to a module. So the first thing I might want to create is a content page, which Jade just showed you how to create those pages and what they can be used for. So when I select content page here, a list of pages that I already have created in my course shows up, or I can select new page and create a new page. So I'm going to create, I already have a welcome page created, so I could either add that or I can create a new page. And I'm going to create a new page for now just to show you what that process is like. But over here, so if I click new page, then I get this area to add a page name. And so I'm going to add welcome with an exclamation point to make it a little different than this one. So I have my welcome page, and I can choose an indentation level, which we'll talk about. Basically, because you're creating kind of a course outline, you can indent things at different levels to help visually organize it better if you want to. I'm going to choose not to indent anything right now, and I'll show you later how you can change that later if you'd like. So I have my welcome page, and then I click add item. So this creates a new page, which lives in the pages area. So if I were to go to the pages area right now, I would see a welcome page, which I had, and then my new welcome with an exclamation point page. So I created this page, it linked in the module, but it really lives in the pages area. So that's important to understand, that if you build content into the module, it doesn't live only in the module. You don't have to remember, well, where did I create that? I have to go back to that place to get to it. You don't have to remember that. You can either edit it from here, or you can find it on the pages area and edit it from there. Either way is fine. But if I do want to edit the page, like Jade was just showing you how to do, I click the link to go into the page itself. And then over on the right, you'll see an edit button. If, here, I'll make it a little bit less. So over here on the right, if I click edit, then I have my page editing, just like Jade was showing you. I could make a banner. I could have, you know, welcome to the course, blah, 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 blah. I could add a list of things for them to do. And then if I click save, it's going to just save it. But if I click save and publish, it will publish it as well. So when I go back to the home page, I now see that my welcome page is there, and it's been published because I published it when I saved it. So now it's even published in the module. However, the module itself has still not been published. So even though this has been published, if a student were to see this, actually they just wouldn't see this module at all because the module itself has not been published. One thing you'll notice is that any item that gets added to a module becomes its own page when you click on it. Now this happens to be a page, but an assignment would also become its own full page when you click on it. A discussion would become its own full page when you click on it. Anything that's added to a module is going to become, when you click on it from the outline view, open up into its full page. And then let me show you what happens when we add a few other things. So we have welcome page. What else might we want? We might want a file for, like, if we add the syllabus, maybe we want to add it to the getting started module, just so you know, we know we might have it on the syllabus page, but it might also be good to link it directly in this module. So I'm going to select it. I already have a file uploaded into my course that's my syllabus, but I can also choose new file and upload a new file from here. Again, this is going to store it in the files area, but it will link it in the module at the same time. So you can work as you go. You don't have to just go upload all your files in the files area, go create all your pages in the pages area, go create all your discussions in the discussions area, and then organize them. You can organize as you build or build as you organize. So you can kill two birds with one stone if you work from the modules page. So I'm going to actually just select the file that I already have uploaded to my course. I can again choose an indentation level, and I click add item, and it adds it to the module. You'll notice that the icon changes. So we have a page icon now and a paperclip icon. And what happens to this file? So this is just a Word document. So it's been uploaded to my course. So what happens is because everything that gets added to a module loads in a full page, it previews the document onto a full page so students can scroll through and preview the document, and they can click to download it. So we now have 2 items in the module. Let's talk about other ways you might be able to add files. So files are kind of interesting because a lot of times we want to give students files as resources or as part of their assignment, and you can add a file pretty much anywhere in the course. So just like Jade was showing you, sorry, I just saw that there was chat. Thanks for responding, Jade.
No problem.
So Jessica asked, publishing, is there an overall publish everything in the course? Yes, so, well, Jessica, there is a publish button that publishes the course as a whole, but that doesn't publish everything individually. You still have to publish all of the items in the course. So once you make the course available, everything that is published can be seen by students, but you can still have control over what those are. There isn't like one big button that turns on every item in the course, if that makes sense. But if you put it in a module and then you publish the module, everything within the module will be published. So yeah, everything is set by default to not be published, except for I think when you upload files, those are published automatically. There's a few things that publish automatically, but like when you create a new page or a new assignment or a new quiz, you have to publish it to make it available to students, and same with modules. And it's just because they know you might not be done editing it just because you created it. So there's kind of 2 steps. You have to create it, and then you have to make it available once you're ready for it. But that's why that save and publish button is really helpful, because you can create it, edit it, and work through it, and then at the end just hit save and publish, and then it's also published, instead of just saving it and then have to go back and remember to publish it later. So that's why you have the 2 options when you're editing anything, is to save or save and publish. Okay, so that, I hope I answered that question. I have the chat open now, so I should see if there's anything new. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have 2 items in the module. So we were talking about, I can add a file to anything really, because Jade was showing you earlier how in a page you can add a file using the content selector. You can do that on an assignment, on a discussion board, anywhere you can add text, you're going to have that content selector and be able to add a document to any text area. However, you can also add a file directly to a module, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily should. One of the things that we want to try and avoid is dumping 20 documents into a module, because the module is really meant to be sequential. It's meant to be organized in a way that you can work through it. And so if you have 20 documents that you put into the introduction module for reference later, it's going to make the modules list really long, first of all, but then also because when I click welcome, I'm now into kind of the book, if you will, of our course. And then what I have to do, if I want to move on from here, I get a next button because it's part of a module. So that's one of the benefits of adding things to a module is you can go in a sequence. So when I click next, the thing that was next on my module list was that syllabus. So if I click next, that's what I'm going to see next. So if you have 30 documents that are there just for reference, if a student wants to move through the course, they're going to have to click through those, you know, next, or go back to the module list. So instead of adding them directly to the module, one of the ways you could add a file instead is to add it on a page. So for example, if I want course resources, I can create a new page in the module. So I've chosen to add a content page. I've selected new page, and I've titled it course resources, and then I add item, and now I have a new blank page. And one of the things that's nice about pages, as Jade was explaining earlier, is that you can add pretty much anything you want. So you can add text, you can add videos, so you can add the content or the meat of your course, but you can also use it kind of like an organizational tool or a folder, because you can kind of tuck away information and put a lot of things on one page. So when I edit this and I get the content selector, one of my options is files over here on the right. So I can choose to, instead of listing 20 documents into a module directly, I could put all 20 documents onto this page and have the one page in the module. So that's kind of something that is one thing to think about as you're working in Canvas, is understanding that there's multiple ways of organizing things and figuring out what's going to work best for you. You want the modules to make sense and to have a good organizational flow without them being too long, but without them being too short and then having each page super long. So you kind of have to find that balance. But let me create this page. So I might tell the students these documents are for you to refer back to, you know, and maybe you're giving them these documents each week, like a document or two each week, but you want them to have one place to come back to refer and find all of them in one place without having to remember, oh, that file was given to me in week 1, that file was given to me in week 2. Like, you could have one page where everything is linked. So over here, I would just select the document, I click it, it inserts it into my page, I click enter on the keyboard, and I can just go through and add all of my, and right now I'm adding the same document 20 times, but I could hypothetically add different documents and save and publish. And then now this is almost like a folder of documents or files. So that's kind of two ways to add files to the module. You could add one directly into the module, or you could add a page with multiple files on it. So, or even just one if you wanted to. So those are kind of some options with adding files, and it does depend on what you're used for, what you're using it for. For example, the syllabus is an important document. You might want to have it directly by itself in the module. If you have one weekly PowerPoint, you might want to link that one PowerPoint directly in the module each week. But if you have 6 or 7 documents that you want to give to them on a certain topic, you could just make a page about that topic and then list the documents on the page. So that's kind of some examples of how you might want to organize files within the modules. Moving on from files in the module, let's add something else. So we've added a page, we've added a file, let's add a discussion. Maybe the students need to introduce themselves. I already have a discussion created in my course called Introduce Yourself. I could, again, create a new discussion, but I'm going to instead add one that I've already created and click Add Item. So I've added that. You might also want to have a quiz, like called Syllabus Quiz, which again, I already have that, or I could create a new one. But if I have one already created, I can select it and add it to the module. So you're kind of getting the theme. You can add pretty much anything you want to the module. We've got pages, we've got files, we've got pages of files, we've got discussions, we've got the quiz. We can add everything, you know, pretty much directly to the module. So I've got a nice module here. Let's add a few things to the week 1 module just so we can see an example kind of like building a course. So one thing you'll also notice here is that all of these items are published, but my module itself is not published. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to click the publish icon, and it publishes the module. So now if I were a student, I can see this module because I've published it as an instructor. If I didn't have that published, I wouldn't be able to see anything in student view. And if you ever want to see what the student sees on the home page, there is this thing called student view, and when you go into it, you get to see exactly how the students are experiencing the course. Okay, in week 1, I'm going to add a few things. So I'm going to add a page called week 1 overview, which I've already created. I'm going to add, let's see, we've added a quiz, file, content. We haven't added an assignment. So let's add an assignment and call it week 1. Jessica, yes, for the RPT, the student views work the same ways. And at the end of this training, when I stop recording, we should talk about the RPT really quick because I want to make sure that you have the information you need about that. So we'll come back to that. But yeah, it works the same way because the RPT viewers will be added as students. So they're only going to see what's published. So, yep, no problem. Okay, so if I have week 1 reflection and I want them to upload a reflection for week 1, I can create a new assignment, give it the assignment name, add the item. And now I have my week 1 reflection assignment. Now I would have to go in here if I want them to submit something. This is just a shell of an assignment. I would need to go in there and I would need to edit it and add the right directions. I would need to add a due date. I would need to add the type of submission they're going to be using and all of that. So I want to make sure that I don't just add things to a module, but I actually go into those items and edit them appropriately. Today we're just focusing on how to add things to the modules, but you would want to go in and make sure the quiz has the right questions and the right settings, and you would want to go into the discussion and make sure that the prompt is set up. So make sure that you're not just adding things, but you're actually going back and making them, each individual thing needs to be set up individually as well. So we have our week 1 reflection. Let me add, let's see what else. So we've added an assignment, we've added a quiz, we've added a file, content page, discussion. Let's add a text header. Now, everything up until this point, assignment, quiz, file, content page, and discussion, these are all items that they live in other areas of the course. They all have their own page, essentially, that you would go to manage those items individually. Everything else at the bottom, text header, external URL, and external tools, those all live only inside of the module. So if you were to delete a module, those things would go away. So it's just kind of important to understand that these 3 items are the only ones that really only live in the modules. So the text header, let's add a text header. All it is an organizational tool within the module view. So if I click, maybe I create it and I call it assignments. And I can choose again an indentation level. I click add item and I can drag, and this is important to know for anything within the module. If you click on these the 8 dots right here, your mouse turns from a normal arrow to a 4-headed arrow, and that means you can drag it around. So you can change where this goes. You can move it between modules, you can move it within the module that it's already in. But the text header is just an organizational tool. Everything else I can click on here, but the text header I can't. I can only see it from this module outline view. I will also need to publish it if I'm ready for it to be seen by students, but I can't, there's no information that's happening in the module progression. So for example, if I were to click on week 1, and then if I were to click next, it would actually take me to the week 1 reflection. It's not going to show me the text header. The text header only is shown on this view right here, where you're seeing the outline of the modules. So you want to make sure that you're not giving any information that is really important unless it's also shown somewhere else. So for example, you wouldn't, if you have like assignments and then you make it due by Friday, you would want to make sure that the due by Friday part is also somewhere else, because if a student clicks week 1 overview and that's all they see, and then they click next, they're not going to see the information that's on the text header. So you want to make sure that the information you have here in the text header is kind of non-vital. It's just more for organization. Okay, so the next thing we have is, let's add one other, external URL. I don't actually recommend adding an external URL directly to a module, and I'm going to show you why. So if I choose external URL here, I can type in any URL or paste in a URL, but, oops, I'm having trouble. So let's just use Google as an example. Let's say I want to give them an article to read, and I'm going to link it in the module. I can give the URL address here. I can give the name, the title, a title to the link, and then I can choose whether or not it loads in a new tab. I'm going to not load it in a new tab for right now, just to show you what that looks like. But if I click Add Item, it's a different icon. It's a linking icon. And I click Google here, and it loads, it tries to load the web page right within the module page view. So, which is nice, because if it's an article or something, you can have them read it and preview it right within your course, not having to leave your course with the potential of getting super distracted by other websites and stuff like that. The problem is that it has to be a secure website, or else some web browsers won't display it within Canvas. Now, this right here is a link, and I can click on it and open it in a new tab, but a lot of students aren't going to know that, and they're going to see the red text and the blank non-loading page and think that it's broken. So this could be problematic, and there's no way for you to control which web browser students use, or whether or not this loads. It's very hard to manage. And so the other thing is, you can't edit this page. You can't edit this and say, hey, use this article, read this article. If it's not loading, click the link to open it in a new tab. You can't do that. It just is what it is. So one of your options is to have it load in a new tab, like we were talking about, and let's see what that looks like. So if I load it in a new tab, this is what I get. I get this simple text that says, this site needs to be opened in a new browser window. And then it says, open Google in a new window. So it is using my title. So I am getting that at least. But other than that, all I get is this link. Again, the problem with that is that there's no context. There's no way for you to tell the students why the article is important, what they should be looking for. Is it required? Is it additional? What is, why is it important? All of that. So because this is already an extra click for students and it already opens in a new window, my recommendation is to add just a page. Just add it onto a page and call it web link or article or whatever you want to call it. We'll call it article 2 because I already have one called article 1. And I click add item, and now it's a blank page. And just like Jade was showing you before, you can add or copy and paste a web address right into this, a URL. So I can type in a link here, and it's going to be clickable for students, but I can also provide context. So I can tell the students, read this article and look for the themes, blah, 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 or whatever that relate to our content, that relate, you can, but the other thing is you can add another website. So you can even give them 3 websites in one page with some information and context. And it's the same amount of clicks as having the link directly in the module, because they'd have to click on the page and they click on the link. If they click the link in the module, they still have to click on it and then click on it again. So it's the same amount of clicks. It's not any extra work. And it gives you more control over how the students are perceiving the information, because you're able to give them context and more information about the link itself. So that's why I usually just recommend, instead of adding links directly into the module, that you add it onto a page. To me, it's just better design, and it's more organized. But it's ultimately a preference. That doesn't mean it's a hard and fast rule. Never use a link in a module. That's just my recommendation.
Can I say this is coming across as very clear and helpful.
Oh, good.
And I don't know, like in my Blackboard courses, 200, 302, the key is there's a syllabus, then, and you can click on and see the syllabus, but then there's assignments, and you click on assignments, and then these assignments are in parts, like there's an introduction, and there's 8 parts and a conclusion. Well, inside each part, it tells the student what to do. There'd be a tutorial, there'd be a related video, there'd be an assignment, there would be what happens in that time in the course. Sounds to me like those, what were called parts, should be pages, and then the page would go in a module. So you could have, you know, in my case, it'd be a course that had a module that was introduction, and everything that was in the old Blackboard part would be in there, and there'd be a module 1, and everything that was in the old part 1 would be in there. But what it would be pages, and it sounds very helpful to the students. I mean, it sounds like it's not going to be hard.
Right. And that's exactly what you would do, is you would have, like, this week 1 overview page would be kind of the instructions for what they need to do. And then you would have the things that they're doing in the module. So whether that's an assignment or, you know, you could even have, but you can, I think the way that you have it set up in Blackboard, because I've seen your course, it will be very easy to get it into this format, because you already have it structured in a very similar way. It's going to look a little different, but it should be organized pretty much the same way when Evan's done working on it.
And it seems like what was parts, they are now going to be pages.
Right.
And in a page could be, you know, a link, like a URL you described, or in that page could be this, that, and the other thing. But it sounds like the key is these pages inside a module.
Right. Pages or other elements. Like, you do have assignments in here where the assignment is also in the module, and there's an area for adding instructions right in the assignment. So it's not all pages, but yes, it is elements, course elements, all added individually into a module, and a lot of that information about each element is added on a page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, the last thing we need to add is an external tool. Now, the external tool, again, is not really something that I recommend adding directly to the module unless you have a very specific reason for it. There may be some cases where there is a reason for it, but most of the time these are going to be better served adding them somewhere else, whether that's in an assignment or on the menu. The external tools are each work differently, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time going into each one, because it's not helpful, I don't think. But for example, like, one of the external tools is a YouTube video. Jade showed you how to add a YouTube video to a page, and you can add multiple to one page if you want to. So adding it directly as an external tool, all that's going to do is put one video on a page, and it's even formatted kind of funny, and so you don't have, and again, you don't have any control to provide information to students about it.
Right.
And so it's better to add it to a page, because then you can say, watch this video because I want you to look for these things. And so that's why, you know, a lot of these things, this is just me kind of showing you, just because you can add something to a module doesn't necessarily mean that you should, or that it's the best way to do things.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, so we've pretty much talked about every item that you can add to the module. So let's talk about some other things. So for example, right now, Jessica, you were asking how how you can publish multiple things at once. If they're in a module right now, like you see these 3 things are not published. If I click to publish the module as a whole, it's going to push the publishing down into the items that are in it. So that's one way to kind of bulk publish things, but that's really the only way to bulk publish multiple things is by adding it to a module and then publishing the module. Most of the time you're going to be publishing individual items. The week 1, let me look here. Okay, so we've got our week 1 module, we've got our introduction module, we're good to go with that. Let's talk about the some of the settings. So we have, again, I showed you these minimization arrows, and those collapse the modules into just the title. Now, you minimizing one is only for you. If you minimize something, the students don't see that. The students have to minimize it on their own. But when a student minimizes a module, it will stay that way. So the next time they come back to the course, it will stay minimized. So if they're working through your course, they can say, okay, I've done this module, I'm going to collapse it. And the next time they come back, they'll see at the top, you know, the title for the one they already did, but they'll see the next one open. So they have control over how the modules appear as far as collapsing or not. Over here on the right, you have the module has some settings, but then we also have each individual item within the module has settings. When each individual item in the module has a setting, it usually refers to how it appears in the module. So for example, increasing the indent, we talked about the indentation levels. All that's going to do is move the title of this item in like a tab. So if I click increase indent, it moves the welcome, the icon and the text over. I can click it again, increase indent, and it keeps moving it over as many times as I want. Then I can also click decrease indent to decrease it. And this just helps you create the organizational flow that you want, like an outline. Some people don't use indentations at all. I typically don't. Some people love them. It's totally a personal preference, and I don't think there's any right way or wrong way to do it. Editing the item from this menu here is only going to give you the option to edit the title of the item and its indentation level. It's not actually editing the page. If you want to edit the page, you have to click on the page, go into it, and edit it from here. Duplicating. You can duplicate certain things, which include pages, discussions, and assignments. Quizzes and files cannot be duplicated, but you can duplicate certain things to help your own workflow. So for example, for week 1, let's say I have a format that I want to use every week. Like I have, first I give an overview of what we're going to learn for the week, then I give a task list, and then maybe I give the readings, and then I give the videos, and I have a whole format. But I don't want to have to do that every week. I don't want to have to recreate it and remember what I did before. You can just duplicate the page and then drag the duplication down into week 2, and then I can go into it and edit it, rename it to week 2 overview, delete the text, the word copy. I can change the content so that it's the week 2 content, but I've used it almost like a template. So you can duplicate items. This is duplicating the page. This is creating a new page. If I were to go to the pages area now, there would be a week 1 overview page, and there would be a week 1 overview copy page. So it's kind of another way of creating a new page, is duplicating something you already have. You can also duplicate assignments and discussions as well. Other things that you can do, you can move an item. So I showed you that you can drag items around. If you don't like to drag, some people don't like it because the mouse is finicky and it's hard to control, you can use this move to icon or this option here, and it gives you a menu that allows you to choose exactly where you want it. So you tell it which module you want it in, and then do you want it before the week 1 reflection? You can say exactly where in the module you want it to move to. So you have full control over exactly where it's placed. Remove. Okay, so removing it is going to delete it from the module. But you'll notice that the terminology is very intentional. They use the term remove. They don't use the term delete. And the reason is because when I remove something from a module, I am not actually deleting it from the course. I am just taking it out of this current module. So if I remove this page, it's not in the module anymore. But if I go back to pages, it will still be there because I didn't delete it. I just took it out of the module. I can then still re-add it because it still technically exists in my course. So I would just go add it back to the module and it's there again. So if I want to actually delete something, like let's say you have 2 pages and you combine them into 1 page and now you want to get rid of the one you don't need, it's probably not going to be enough to just remove it from the module because it's still going to be existing in the pages area. So you can do one of 2 things. You can click on it to get into the actual page itself or assignment itself or discussion itself, and then delete it from here. And you'll notice that the term changes from remove to delete. This actually will delete it from the course. It will be gone. You can also go to whatever area that item lives in. In this case, it's a page. So I go to the pages area and I can actually delete it from here. And again, this is actually removing it from the course because I'm taking it, I'm deleting it from where it actually exists in the course. The module is just linking to it. I hope that makes sense. Sharing to Commons, you can share an item individually to Commons. So this it's just one way to do it if you want to do that. So those are the settings for each individual item, or the options. And then each module also has options. So if you edit the module, you can edit the title, and then we're going to come back and talk about the locking in just a minute. We have move contents, which would take all of the individual items that are in a module and move them individually into another module. So if I wanted to combine the introduction module with week 1, I could move the contents and it would just take all of the items and put them into week 1, but I would still be left with an empty module that then I could delete. If I want to move the module as a whole, if I want to keep it together but move it somewhere else, I can use this, or I can use the drag handle. The drag handle for the module as a whole is a lot easier to use when the modules are collapsed, but you can move them around as a whole piece if you want. Deleting the module, again, this is only going to get rid of the module and everything that's in it from the module page. The items itself, if they live in the course, if they're a page, an assignment, a quiz, a discussion, they will still exist in the course. They're just not on the modules page anymore. And then sharing to Commons, this would share your entire module to Commons because you're in the module options. So those are your settings for each individual module. We talked about the options for the individual items within the modules. Now we need to talk about how to lock things down if you want to do that. So there's a couple different options. So the module settings are king. So if a module is locked or unavailable for some reason, nothing within that module is available, even if it's published and even if the individual item does not have any restrictions on it. So this welcome page here, even though I don't have any restrictions on the page, if I set a restriction on the module that it's in, the student will not be able to access that page. So you want to think about that as you design. Do I want, you want to make sure you're thinking about those things. Now, let's say I lock a module to open on Wednesday, but I still don't want the quiz to be open until Friday. You can do that. You can say the module will open on Wednesday, but you can individually, in the quiz settings, make that available on Friday. So what that does is it it makes the module settings at the top level, but then you can still get down into kind of the nitty-gritty settings of each individual thing if you want to. But you couldn't say the quiz opens Monday and the module opens Friday. If the module opens Friday and the quiz opened Monday, the quiz would still be unavailable until the module is in opens. But let's talk about how to lock a module. So we can go to the settings here in the module settings and click edit. And then you have a couple different options. You can lock until a specific date. So a lot of people use this if they don't want students working ahead, they'll lock the modules down until the date when everybody gets access to that module. So I could say any date that I want. I can even add a time if I want to. If you don't specify a time, it will assume you mean midnight. So that's how to lock it until a certain date. I click update module. If I go into student view, you'll see that when I reset it in just a second, you'll see that the module itself is locked. It has the lock icon. It tells me when it's going to unlock, and everything in it is grayed out. I can't click on them anymore because it's locked. So once this date appears, or once this date comes up, then I will be able to get to the things that are in the module. But what's nice is that I can still see what's coming up. So if this were a weekly module, I'd be able to see, oh, I have a quiz next week. I can start studying for that now, even though I can't see what's in the module or something like that. You know, the students can still see what's coming. They just can't get into it yet. And then we have another option for, so I'm going to turn off the lock until date. And we have another option called prerequisites. The prerequisites say that, well, this module here won't unlock until this module is completed. So you can set it like that, like almost like a gate. If you use adaptive release in Blackboard, it's the same thing. So I can click edit on week 1, and then I use the prerequisite option and I click add prerequisite, and I can select any modules that are above this module as a prerequisite. So I have my introduction module is now set as a prerequisite. So this is the first step. The second step is telling Canvas what within the introduction module actually needs to be done in order for this to unlock. So you have to set what are called requirements within the prerequisite module. Right now, Canvas knows that that introduction is a prerequisite to week 1, but it thinks that the students have already completed everything because you haven't told it what they need to complete, if that makes sense. So I go into the introduction module and I click edit, and now I can add requirements. So I add a requirement. So there's a couple options when you're adding requirements. I usually kind of move it out of the way so I can see the module behind it. But you have the option, students must complete all of these requirements. Students must move through the requirements in sequential order. So you can force them to go in order, or you can let them jump around as long as they complete everything. Or you can just say that they need to complete one requirement. Let's say you set 4 requirements and they only have to complete 1. You could do that too. Most cases, you're going to say if I'm setting it as a requirement, they need to do everything. So here we have, they must complete all of the requirements. That's the one we're going to use for this example. And now I can choose the item that I want to make a requirement and what I want to require. So the first thing is the welcome page. So I'm going to select that from the drop-down menu. So now the welcome page is a requirement. And I can choose to make them view it. I can choose to have them mark it as done, or I can choose to have them contribute to the page. So because it's a welcome page and it's really important for me that they read all this information, I'm going to say that they need to mark it as done. Now, it gives them a button at the top of the page that says mark as done. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you tell them at the bottom of the page, now that you've read all this information, go up to the top and click mark as done. Or a lot of times they miss it because it's at the top and they've read through the bottom. So you can click mark as done, or you can just have them contribute to the page. If you allow them to contribute, or you make that a requirement, you want to make sure you actually allow them to do that. So now I'm going to add a requirement. I'm going to So the second thing is the syllabus. So I'm going to choose the syllabus from my list here. And the only thing I can require them to do with a file is view it. So I'm going to say keep it as viewing it. I'm going to add, see the course resources one, for me, it's just a resource. I don't really care if they do anything with it. If they don't use it, that's up to them. So I'm not going to make that a requirement at all. You don't have to make each item a requirement. So then I'm going to skip to the next thing I do want to require, which is introduce yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, the discussion. And for a discussion, I can have them view it or contribute to it. If the discussion is graded, I will also have an option to have them submit it. But I always keep it on contribute because for some reason, Canvas doesn't always recognize a reply in a discussion as a submission. So you want to make sure that if they contribute, like if they reply to the thread, that's enough for them to move on. Then I am going to add another requirement, and I'm going to choose the syllabus quiz. For a quiz, you can make them view it, submit it, or score at least. So what's, you know, if you don't care what they score, you could maybe say they have to at least take the quiz before they move on. So I can have them submit the quiz. Or if it's something that I'm like, for example, for the syllabus quiz, I want them to get 100%. I want them to go through and I want them to make sure they understand the syllabus and that they can answer these questions. I don't care how many times they take it, they just have to get it 100% right. I can make them score a certain percentage, but if you require them to score a certain amount, you want to make sure you allow them to go back and take it as many times as they can so that they're not stuck. So now I have my 4 requirements. The other thing I'll mention, because I don't have an assignment in this module, my assignment is technically in the week 1 module. The options, if you want to make an assignment a requirement, are kind of the same as quiz. There's view, submit, or score at least. For an assignment, you have to manually grade them. So if you have them score a certain amount, you want to make sure you've told them ahead of time. You're not going to be able to move on until I grade these and make sure you've done the requirements and gotten the right score. So, so that's kind of important. But usually with an assignment, I would just say, as long as they submit it, they can move on because I'll grade it when I get to it, and I don't want them hanging up on what the next thing they're doing, waiting for me to grade, because then you know the inevitable student emails come of what what they need to do. So I've got my 4 requirements. I click Update Module, and now the module says complete all items, and each item that I made a requirement now shows what I'm requiring. And if I go into Student View, you will see that, I'm waiting for it to load. So you'll see that week 1 is now locked. I can't click on week 1. If I'm smart and I think, well, I'll click on quiz and then I'll click next and that will get me into week 1, you would be wrong because Canvas knows better and it says, well, you can't see this page until you've met these requirements. So, go back and do those first. So that's kind of nice. And same thing, like if I were to find this assignment on that calendar and I click on it from the calendar, it's still going to tell me the same thing. This is part of a module that's locked because these requirements haven't been met yet. Then you can see that I can jump around. I told them that they could work in any order, but they have to meet these requirements. And you see that there are bubbles or circles next to the items that are required. And you see that, again, it says complete all items, and it tells them what needs to be completed. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to change one small thing to show you the difference. I'm going to make it so that they have to go in order, and you'll see the difference there. So now I'm requiring them to go in sequential order between the requirements. So now not only can they not get into week 1, but they can't even take the quiz until they go through the order that I've set. So they have to start with the welcome message. So once I click on it, remember the requirement here was to mark it as done. So once I'm done reading it, I would have to mark it as done as a student, and then I can click next. The requirement for viewing the syllabus was just to view it. So I've met that requirement now because I viewed the page that it's on. If I go back to the modules, you're going to see now the 2 items that I've completed have check marks. and the module has this started icon, which means that I've met some of the requirements, but not all of them. But you'll see that here, it jumps in opening things up. Instead of only opening the next item, it opens the next 2 items. And the reason is because I didn't require this one. I said it doesn't really matter if they look at that one. So what it does is it doesn't force you to go sequentially in order in the module. It requires them to go in order of the requirements. So we have here, I can skip this if I want to and jump right to the discussion. I would have to reply to move on, but I can go into my response and I can click next. And then again, my quiz, I have to get a 0 out of 0 on my quiz. So I can just submit the quiz because there's no questions. And now when I go back to the modules, you'll see that each item that I had required is now completed because I met all the requirements, and the module itself has a check mark. So if I collapse the module, I can still tell that that item has been completed, or that the module is done. And now week 1 is open. So what you can do as an instructor is you can choose which level you want to use this for. You can get as locked down as this, where you're forcing them to go in a certain order. And then once they've completed a module, the next module opens. You could have it so that all the modules open after they do the introduction module. Or you could just say, I don't care if they're all open. You don't have to use the prerequisite. You could still just set the requirements so that the students can see which items need to be done. And it gives those students those check mark items, those to-do items, which I think a lot of students like. They can see the completion. And so it's up to you how much you use this. You don't have to use any of this. You could say, I don't want to lock anything. I don't want to set any requirements, and that's totally fine. But you have a lot of control over the student experience because of this, because you can, like I said, you can force them to go in a certain order. You can allow them to jump around, but still, complete certain things, or you can just leave it open. So it's really up to you, but those are options for you. One of the benefits of having requirements set is you can see their progress. So if you're requiring certain things, you'll be able to see each student and which module they're on and how far they've progressed through the module. So that is one benefit to using those, is you're able to see more how students are working through your course, other than just through grading. So that's all I have for you with modules. I'm sorry this went over. I think I got started a little late on our end on the module part, but thank you for sticking in with me. Do you have any questions before we end this?
Jessica, I want to thank you and Jade.
Of course.
I'm going to have to go quickly.
Okay.
Now, I'll do the one tomorrow also. Did you have a chance to talk at all with Evan about my 2 courses and with regard to the links? Not that were not all the links went over for the.
I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. It's sitting in my inbox. I've been working on RPTs. The links, let me look at it today and look at, see what I can do, and I'll talk to him about it. I think if they're just videos, they should still be in Kaltura, and that won't be a problem. But we'll get it figured out for you.
Okay, that sounds really good, and I'm looking forward to having Nick tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And then Jessica, I just want to make sure you're good on the RPT. So did you fill out the survey to have the RPT or to get some support? Yes. So sorry, I was just chatting about that. Did you fill out that survey that Jeff has sent out? Gotcha. So Ed already transferred it, but you're just working through it, and you're just wanting to figure out. You're kind of working with what he's done to. Now, did he just put all the files in, or did he organize it for you in the template? I'm gonna go ahead and, I forgot that I'm still recording. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.